Hey there, I'm Jack Droppers. I am the Director of Student Activities here at Calvin University. I'm so excited that you are here watching our YouTube channel. We are about to embark on a mini concert and conversation. We'll have 3 songs performed, and then we will have a conversation with the artist. I hope that you enjoy these conversations as they invite us to reimagine our own humanity through art. So enjoy.
Like a summer breeze whistling through the trees, I can feel you, oh Lord. No, my love is true, so in all I do, I'ma praise you. There's no one like you. Ooh, that's why you're always on my mind. My mind, my mind, my mind. So amazing that it's unbelievable. You make me so satisfied with my life, knowing that you're in control. Secure, I don't have to worry about a thing. You're so heavy on my mind. You're always on my mind. You're always on my mind. My mind, yeah, yeah. You're always on my mind, my mind, my mind. If there was a way that I changed the way I think, I would never be the same. The thought of you is so heavy on my brain that it's never gonna change. The things you do, the way you are, it's to my soul down in my heart. And it's crazy, the best part is that you do it willingly. You're on my mind, you're always on my mind. My mind, my mind. You're always on my mind. You're on my mind. Why we be acting like when we visit God, we just packing light. Tell him we gon' spend a little time. Then we change our minds cause we're busy trying to find entertainment in our timelines while that time dies. The devil is a lie and the truth ain't in him. But we would rather hear lies than look ourselves in the mirror. Instead we tap in the screen to make the selfie look clear. Then we go Google a quote to make the caption sincere. What's happening here? Sometimes it feels we 6 feet deep. Like what we have living on earth we thought was under our feet. Looking down so much you think that we could see underneath the surface. But I learned some things are a visual scheme. Like look at me, I read John 3:16. Let me post it on my story, but just so everyone sees that I love God. But we just don't get it. Like do we worship more than we go check the analytics and admit it? When was the last time that you gossiped? Last time you said something that started some drama? Didn't honor your mama or your father? Or didn't see a problem when you used to God the gift but failed to give God all the honor? Or when you put that person, that job, or your school above him? Or you loved yourself way more than you could ever love him? Or had the audacity to pass a bit of judgment? You call that Christianity? Ah man, that's really something. We need to tighten up, cause these demons fighting us. Coming left and right till all we see is chaos rising up. Be attentive, gotta listen, get to spending time with him. He know what he talking about, he be spitting wise wisdom. So the moral of the story is, don't be offended when he wakes you up at 6 a.m. Maybe he's trying to teach you something, show you something, tell you something, who knows? But you'll never know being content with the potential to grow.
Hey. Hello.
Thanks so much for being here. That was incredible.
Thank you.
It's great to have you back at Calvin. I want to talk about the new music that you put out. But first, I want to hear, so you are a graduate of Calvin, and you graduated in probably the weirdest graduating class of last spring. How has the last half of a year been for you as you've sort of made that transition out?
It's been very interesting because I've been having to figure out things. I had some things set that didn't end up working out, obviously, because of the pandemic. But it's also been a good journey. It's been a teacher for me because it shows it showed me the areas where I said I was relying on God and didn't really show that for real in my life. So I really had to press into God for real. And I've always had a relationship with him, but that just showed like the areas where I was missing. So that's been the journey, but it's also been very enjoyable being back home with my family and just figuring it all out, honestly.
Yep. And so you put out your new single this summer, correct?
Yes, July 31st.
Okay, was that the plan all along, or was it sort of like, I've got all this time now?
Yeah, look, honestly, I was supposed to let the song out last year.
Okay.
But I was procrastinating, and then a lot of things, went into it. And it was supposed to go out at the beginning of the summer, like right beginning, but it just ended up coming out that day, and that's how it worked out.
Very cool. What this is your second track that you've put out?
Yes.
How does that feel as, when you put out singles, it can be like you're throwing all of your marbles into this one song, essentially. How do you deal with that sense of like, this is my baby and I'm sort of putting it out into the world versus like if somebody puts out an album and somebody hates a song in it, or like you're like, I don't know if they like this one, it's fine because there's like 7 of them.
Absolutely. Honestly, I just think about the fact that God downloaded the lyrics into me. And if he wanted me to just sit on it, he would tell me that. But the way I release music is I'm led by God. So, the first one, literally I was like, I'm not doing this because I had just went through a heartbreak. And I'm like, I'm not letting this out. But God was like, I wrote that song so you could bless people. So I was like, wow, you're right, God. So that's how I let that out and then move on. Kind of happened in the same way where like it was literally inspired by God and he downloaded the lyrics into me. It was one of the easiest writing sessions ever. And I just knew that song wasn't just for me. It was for me initially, but I knew that other people needed that encouragement. So, honestly, it has nothing to do with me. If it were me, I'd probably keep them all because I'm such a perfectionist. Yeah. But I have to listen to God when it comes to these things.
Yeah, very cool. So one of the things we like to ask artists when we interview them is, a lot of times people who don't make music assume that musicians like go away into their like secret cabin or something like that to record a song. But really most musicians are interacting with art around them, whether it's music or watching movies or reading books or going to paint, exhibits and things like that. So I'm curious, what music or movies or readings are you doing now that's really inspiring you?
Honestly, I don't know if you can use the word now because I'm very old school when it comes to my music. And I am also inspired by new school things, but usually my inspiration comes from life and music. So my biggest inspiration is Stevie Wonder, hands down. I just love Stevie Wonder. So I love his vibe. I love the things he talks about. He has like a deeper meaning to his music. And then a whole bunch of gospel artists, Jonathan McReynolds, Jessica Reed, the Walls Group, like it's just, and Music Soul Child as well. Like it's just a deep realm of music that I'm inspired by, that inspires my vibe and the lyrics as well. And then my music is mainly inspired by the things that I live and have seen.
Yeah, and I noticed that, one of the things that, as you all were warming up, is there is a very, obviously it's gospel music, but there is like a gospel sense in like, you don't necessarily know where this is going, which is fascinating to me as someone who doesn't make gospel music, to interact in that way of like, you're sort of feeling out the song as it goes. Does that give you peace when you're doing a live show, or are you a little bit like, I don't know where this is going? Like if my bassist decides to take it a different way,
for sure.
How does that translate from show to show?
That is an amazing question. I am a perfectionist, so doing things on a whim, one, I've had to do it my whole life. That's literally like when I sing, usually it's on a whim. Usually I practice with the band or whatever about an hour before, but I'm never comfortable doing it. At least initially when we're first starting, I'm always super in my mind, like, oh, this note wasn't right, or this and this and this, but God is slowly teaching me, like, that's not necessary. Like, it's okay to you should do things with excellence, of course, and I won't always do things an hour before I'm learning my lesson. But also, too much perfectionism takes away from, I feel like, the anointing in something. Like, you're no longer feeling it, you're being super technical. And I feel like that's something that I've learned over life. So, yes, is it stressful? A little bit, yeah. But it's also like a lesson learner for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you ever feel like when your band is playing something that maybe you're like, I don't know where they're going with this, that you're surprised by it? Like, oh, that actually sounds really good, or I like the way this feels.
I like that.
Yeah.
So when that happens, I just kind of, first of all, it forces me to try some things, because sometimes, like, I know exactly what I'm gonna do, but it's also cool to, like, try some things live. So that actually challenges me, and I feel like makes me better as well. So I live for those types of things. Like, if you're feeling a vibe, do it. You know, it just don't throw us all completely off. But yeah, I love that type of stuff.
Is that sort of how the poem came about? Because I know you brought in this poem with the song.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was how you envisioned performing it. Because I could read your face a little bit, and you're like, oh, this is turning a little bit more hip hop than maybe that you had envisioned it, but it worked really well with
Praise
the music.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah. My whole vision for that, it was out the window, which I like, because I like trying new things, and I don't describe myself as a rapper. I do spoken word. So when I'm doing the beat, you know, it just feels like I'm rapping. I'm like, ew, like I sound weird, but it felt so good. I think I'm gonna try doing that more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely not like that in my mind at first. So I like that. It was supposed to not have a beat at all. I was supposed to just free flow, but I liked that. That was cool.
So this is a question we've been asking artists for a while. So the last time I heard you play was at the Bree Newsom event. So Bree Newsom came on campus and spoke, and you opened up with a set that was incredible.
Thank you.
And you had a couple covers in there. I know you sang Strange Fruit. And it was this perfect set to put alongside what Bree brought for us, in that it felt like the two were in conversation with one another. And so one of the things I'm curious about is, it would not be a stretch to say we're a culture in crisis right now. And I'm curious, where do you see your role as a musician in a culture in crisis?
Absolutely. That's a great question. I see my role as a role to bring awareness. As somebody who lives in a part of this crisis as, you know, a Black female, seeing the things that are happening, experiencing them in a way that hits close to home, I feel like my role is to show the pain, you know, how it affects people like me, even people that are not like me, but are allies, you know, like it cuts deep. So I feel like the way music is a way to express that anyway, express whatever it is that's going on. And it's funny that you said that, because when the thing happened with George Floyd, and then, you know, the Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, I didn't know what to do. I was frantic. I was in my house. I put stuff on my shirt and was about to run around my neighborhood. And my mom and my dad had to calm me down, because they saw the pain and the fury, and I was just so angry. And we sat there and we cried, and I just remember, like, I gotta write something. So God downloaded this spoken word into my heart, and I just it was a minute. It was short, but I think it was powerful enough to let people know, like, this isn't something that's simple.
Yeah.
You know, it affects not just us, it affects all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should be affected by that. You should look at that and be like, wow, that's horrible.
Yeah.
That was a long-winded answer, but
No, that's great.
yeah. Basically just to bring awareness and to show the real. I'm tired of having to put on a facade all the time.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't affect me and the people I know and people I don't know, but it does.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a powerful reminder that sometimes art can do the thing that maybe we don't feel like we're allowed to do. And that running around the neighborhood or something like that might feel cathartic in some way, but and maybe it would have been a great thing for you. But maybe your mom and dad were like, let's, something, how is another way to express this?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes music lets us express something that's like horrible or terrible, or just like the anguish is real. And people aren't saying like, oh, this is too much, because you're expecting it in some ways that music is going to bring you to that place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. Well, thank you so much again for
Thank you for
being
having me.
here and for performing and for the great music that you're putting out into the world.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.